we are going to be talking about the 5 process groups. The 5 process groups of project management. It's probably been beaten over the head quite a bit from different sources, but the key things you should know about the 5 process groups is they actually represent 5 different groups of processes in projects. That's all. So on every project you've got a beginning, you've got an end. You've also got a part of the project where you do the work. And the work can be divided into planning type work, where you plan what you're going to be doing, but it is work to plan. You know, we plan to work, but we also work to plan. So you've got initiating, you've got planning, you've got executing, where you're actually carrying out the work, and you've got monitoring and controlling. In monitoring and controlling, you're controlling the work and monitoring it to make sure it's going according to plan. And then you've got the closing process group, where you close out the project. That's where you hand over the deliverable, the final deliverable, to your customer. So it is important for you to understand in your own words what exactly is happening in each of these process groups. In initiating, what you're doing is you are coming out with documentation, formal documentation that authorizes the project, that authorizes the phase, that authorizes whatever endeavor you're working on. You also have documentation that identifies the key stakeholders in that endeavor. It's very important to identify who the project is going to affect. And for that reason, you've got these 2 processes: develop project charter and identify stakeholders. And that's where you do both of those. You develop the project charter, which is a document that authorizes the project, and then you've got identify stakeholders. These are 2 very important processes, because identifying stakeholders sets the pace for who you're going to be communicating with throughout the project, whose interests you need to meet, your go-to people as far as reporting on status, trying to get people to work on the project in some capacity, because stakeholders are not just the customer. Stakeholders could be people on your team, people who can actually work for you on the project. So it's a wide array of people. That's what you need to understand. Those are your stakeholders. So really, in the beginning of the project and initiating, this is where we identify who the project manager is, and at the same time we also identify who the project manager will be communicating with, whose needs the project manager needs to meet. All those are very important. Now, when you're done initiating the project, you've identified who the project manager is and who the different stakeholders are, you move into the next stage, the next process group, which is the planning process group. And in the planning process group, what we're doing, we're planning the project. That's what we're doing. We're planning how the work is going to be executed. And there are a number of things that you have to plan. You have to plan how you're going to develop the project management plan in the first place. Is it going to be detailed? Because every project needs a plan, and that's the project management plan. So is it going to be detailed? Is it going to be high level? What's the duration of the project? And how detailed do we want to get as far as the project management plan is concerned? Those are some of the questions that you have to ask at the beginning. When you have a clear picture of how you're going to proceed developing the project management plan, then you begin to develop the project management plan. And the way you develop the project management plan is by working on different pieces of it. Because the project management plan is a huge document. It has several subsidiary plans. Several little plans make up the big project management plan. So you've got your schedule management plan, you've got your cost management plan, you've got your process improvement plans, and so on. All those different components will make up your project management plan. You've got your human resource plan, you've got your risk management plan. There's quite a bit that goes into this. So at the end of the day, your job as a project manager is to make sure that this document is as comprehensive as can be, has all the information that you need to, and that's the project management plan. It drives how you're going to work on the project, the things you're going to do, why you're going to do them, so on and so forth. So after you develop your project management plan and you have direction for the planning process group, you move into the next process group, which is executing. Now bear in mind that while you are developing the project management plan, there are actually several things that happen. It's not as clear cut and as easy as that, to be honest, because you have all these subsidiary plans, so you have to work on all these tiny little plans, and at the end of the day you have your project management plan. So when you're done with that, you move into executing. You execute the plan, you put the plan into action. In executing, this is where the work is being carried out and the project manager is monitoring the work as it's being carried out. This is where you would make any changes and you'd make sure that those changes are implemented. This is where you would monitor the activities for correctness. And I said activities because we're talking about quality assurance. This is where you would do quality assurance. This is where you would acquire the project team. This is where you would manage the project team, manage stakeholder expectations. So there is quite a bit of work to be done in this process group. And that's all for executing. Now, moving on to monitoring and controlling. This is where you monitor and control the work being done.